We're all dancing. All right, welcome everybody. We didn't realize you were here, but welcome to Netflix Weekly with Rob and
Phil.
Yay! All right, how was your week, Phil?
While I was editing the last editing. While I was editing the last episode, I realized that I was saying whore too much.
Whore?
So I want to explain that I don't think all sex workers are whores. I don't
remember you saying whore. Was it because of Dido and Naomi?
It was because of the other one, Sophie or whatever.
Oh, right.
And she was legitimately a non-licensed sex worker on the down low.
Okay.
If anything was a whore, that would be it. But I mean, like, legitimate sex workers, cool. You do you, boo. I'm totally cool with it. It's fine. But when it just seemed shady on her end.
All right. On the flip side, I'm totally cool with whores. So just so everybody knows.
Anytime.
Any type of whores. I don't give a shit what kind of whore you are. Just bring them my way. For me, this past weekend, when we moved into this house, the one thing that's never worked really well is the toilet connected to the master bedroom, and we just had enough of it. We're like, fuck it, I'm gonna pull this toilet up. Now, the people that were here before us were very European. Well, they were European, not very European, they were European. So there's like a bidet here, and it's very European centric. This toilet, the bottom part of it is unlike any toilet I've ever seen. I've taken off a few toilets in my time. I actually went to the Home Depot and I took a picture of the bottom part of this toilet and I showed it to the guy there. I'm like, have you ever seen anything like this? And he's like, and he's like, nope. He's like, I don't know why you would do that. Basically, the under part, and I won't get into gory details for anybody, but there's an under part to your actual toilet where the tank connects to the bowl and everything flushes down the main hole of your toilet, right?
Yeah.
That part was not part of the actual toilet. It was like this whole plastic assembly that was connected to the ground. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. So I had to take all that up.
Jerry-rigged it type thing?
It wasn't jerry-rigged. It was. You could tell this was an expensive ass toilet. So I get the sneaking suspicion that they, yeah, right. That's what everybody's saying, expensive ass. But they brought this toilet from like fucking Portugal or Spain or somewhere just because it's this type of toilet. But I'm glad to say that it's finally out of the house, and now all the toilets in the house are fantastic.
You got yourself an all Canadian toilet.
You know what? I got the American standard toilet. Right? So Canada, we're not, you know what? If anybody's going to know how to get rid of shit, it's got to be America. So that's why you have to go with American standard toilets.
It took them 2 years to get rid of shit.
No, it's 4 years it took them to get rid of shit.
Or even longer. See, I'm Canadian.
It's not like our Canadian voting system where we can just decide one day to have a vote and we're all going to the polls.
Can we get rid of Trudeau? Like,
you know what? I don't think we'll ever get rid of Trudeau. And so what I hate about Trudeau was so there was Harper, and so there was Mike Harris for Stephen Harper. Mike Harris was everybody's best friend, and I'm your best friend, and it's all right that I'm taking your money because I'm your best friend. And then Harper came in and said, okay, dude, you can't be taking people's money. We got to change some shit around. So that's what brought the Conservatives in. And then the Conservatives were like, we'll just control your money. Don't worry about it. Just leave it with us. And then people didn't like that. So people started like, Stephen Harper. Also, he's a fucking robot. I don't like Stephen Harper. And then Justin Trudeau comes in, and I don't like Justin Trudeau at all. He's the ultimate fucking pretty boy who, to the young kids, he's like, I'm hip, I'm cool, vote for me.
That's how he
to the older folks. Sure. Well, then to the older folks, he's like, remember my dad? Wasn't my dad wasn't he a great premier? Or not premier, prime minister? Let me be, your prime minister. I'm just like my dad, So to the young people, he's buying them with bullshit. To the old people, he's buying them with bullshit. And now it's starting to become so fucking obvious. And he's wheeled himself into a corner that he can't get out of it, and none of the tricks that he's used before will actually get him out of it. And to see him fucking drown under his own bullshit, I'm liking very much. The problem is, who the fuck are we going to put in instead of Trudeau? I can't say I'm a huge fan of anybody else. The only other person I'd like to see is Jagmeet Singh. I'd like to see him in power instead of Trudeau. But I will forever have a dislike for the NDP for introducing the GST and saying it was only going to be like 5 years, but we're going to have it, and then we've still got it to this fucking day. So that's my only issue with the NDP. But if anybody was going to be in power, Jagmeet Singh is definitely for me the guy.
Singh is like everything, almost everything he has said, I agree with.
Yep.
He's going after like the stuff that most people wouldn't touch, and it's great. He's actually got an opinion, and like the thing with Trudeau right now or today is that he won't say anything against China, and that's
it seems
I don't
very
get taken down. China sucks, okay?
But it's very Trumpish, it's very Trumpish the way that he's acting. He's like, no, I don't want to be mean to some people. Like, dude, give me a fucking break. We haven't been the country that we've been by making sure we're a very kind country, and we're, some people would say you can kind of walk all over Canadians. We're the nicest people in the world. Peacekeepers, exactly. But come on, there comes a time to have a backbone. Your father had no fucking problem having a backbone, and he had no problem having a front bone when he let all free trade start across Canada, but that's a whole other story. But don't like Trudeau.
The only reason China gets away with the stuff they get away with is because they've got their hands in everyone's pockets.
Yep, it's definitely true.
Literally, it's difficult because I do not respect China for a lot of the stuff they've done lately, and for a long time, and yet they've got their hands in, like, let's say Netflix, let's say like the movie industry. Like, they're all going over to record stuff in China because it's a lot cheaper.
What's weird though, when it comes to China, especially China, Korea, movies like that, what they don't like to see in their movies is strange. Because I found out one of the reasons that the Ghostbusters remake, as bad a movie as it was, it did, like, I don't believe it even opened in China. Like, it went in China because they will not watch movies with ghosts. I believe it's actually a mandate of the government that movies can't have ghosts.
Have they replaced all the ghosts with little gremlins or something?
And they should replace them with female ghosts, and that would make it all about female empowerment.
It's like, I get it. There's other ideals and stuff, whatever, but it's so pushed on people. China might as well be North Korea at this point. Yeah, I said it. And
my biggest problem with Trudeau, just to bring it back to Trudeau, not that I don't want to bash China, but maybe they got the GPS coordinates on my house.
Yeah, they're going to shut down our podcast next
week. My problem with Trudeau is all this vaccine nonsense right now. It's like, holy shit, dude, if America can get their shit together when it comes to vaccines, Canada must be able to get our shit together. And I feel like we can't. I feel like it's a free-for-all as to when we're going to get any fucking vaccines. And it's like, come on, man. You guys have got to be able to figure this out. This is not rocket science. They got 52 states over there. We have how many less than that provinces? You should be able to figure this out.
So let's move away from that before we get canceled. Two other topics before we actually get into the show. What are we wearing?
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm not wearing any pants. I don't know if anybody wants to know that. I never wear pants, especially during the day when I'm working. Fucking hate pants. I'm a passionate hater of pants.
This week, we're celebrating bullying. No, we're in support.
Celebrating bullying.
Bullying. It's Pink Shirt Day on Wednesday.
Speaking of China,
this might release Tuesday or Wednesday, one of those days. But we would like to support. Be safe, be kind, be you. Read yours.
Mine just says, on Wednesdays we wear pink because my wife is a huge fan of the film Mean Girls, which is a wonderful film.
But to you,
and I say that. What?
To you, it's anti-bullying.
That's right. But to me, it's anti-bullying. And I'll say as well, as much as I may come off, and I read this on Reddit. It was a great conversation in the Reddit subreddit called Ask Men. A lot of people sometimes I wish I could remember the way this guy described it, but he says he's had conversations with people where when he gets very into a conversation, another person might take it as he's arguing with them or trying to bully them. And he's like, no, I just feel very strongly about my opinion. And it's hard for some people to have a conversation with someone else when they're just not used to that. So to anyone who will ever listen to this that thinks I hope nobody thinks I'm a bully. I've never, ever, quite the opposite. I got picked on
every week
by talking to me. Yeah, exactly. Everyone should. Now shut up. I'm trying to talk. But but no, I am not a bully, though I do get very incensed in stuff I talk about. And that's why I love talking to other people that get incensed and stuff. So if anybody does think I'm being a bully, let me know.
And the other thing we need to talk about is the show itself is in a constant flux of construction. Right now, we're testing a different way to record. Rob has graciously given me an old laptop to focus on using for the show. I got a webcam, I got my lights, I got my the microphone. Like, we're trying to make it nice.
Man, more professional. One day I promise I will have enough time to do something with my hair, or like the next time on this podcast, it might just all be gone.
Look at this. Who cares?
Well, it's funny.
You'll see this, then don't worry about it.
I saw the video before, and I was watching it. There's nothing worse than watching a video of yourself on like a huge fucking television, because I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta do something with my hair. What the fuck is going on with my hair? And this time I was like, all right, I'm definitely going to comb my hair. It's pretty bad when it's gotten to this point. You're in your 40s. And I'm like, I got to comb my hair before I get on the camera. But I literally finished one of the movies that we'd planned to watch for this week. I finished it like literally 15 minutes ago. So I didn't have any time to fucking just jump in the shower and do a quick something with my hair.
You could have faked it. You could have just told them, yeah, it's wet right now.
I should have worn like a fucking pink. I'm gonna get a pink hat. I'm gonna go to the dollar store, grab a pink hat.
And that way get a pink hat next year.
just CG it onto me.
Oh, okay.
Just like fucking hover it above my head every time I move.
Put your hand there. It's there.
You reach straight through your fucking hat. How can you do that? It's movie magic.
It's a magic hat. All right, let's go on the actual show.
Yeah. So honorable mentions for me. I watched a few movies this week. One of them was good. That's not true. Two of them were good. I watched a movie called Max Cloud, and I watched it with my sons. It's a movie about a girl gets sucked into a video game and has to play as a character, and the main character is a guy named Max Cloud, and he's a gung-ho action hero. It's not very good. It was fine. It was fine for kids. Yeah, I can't even remember where the fuck I got it from.
It was like a youth type thing?
Yeah. It had like maybe like somebody said shit twice in it, but no violence in it. Both my boys were fine with it.
Speaking of which, we're curbing our swearing in the house because Alexander's been swearing. My son has been swearing at school or saying something bad. I don't know. Hopefully not or.
You know what? I tried that, and I said to my wife, I'm like, look, that's the one thing I can't curtail, especially when, like, Jesus, when I was working on this toilet or when I was working on their sink, it's hard for me to get away from swearing. So now my boys have just learned that when mom's not around, you can swear. Don't swear at school, and especially never let your mother hear you, or then we're all in deep shit. The other thing I watched, a Spanish movie called Sleep Tight. More of a thriller movie. I don't. It's hard to even discuss a movie without spoiling any part of it. So if you do like Spanish kind of, it's not horror as in ghosts and zombies and killing and scariness, but it's more just kind of psychological.
It's a thriller.
Yeah, kind of a thriller. Yeah, it's the best way. And more of a kind of one of those movies that more feeds on dread than anything else. It's a great movie, and it's called Sleep Tight. I cannot remember the original title for it in Spanish. I discovered a movie. I love these guys called Red Letter Media, which are an internet group that they're always constantly putting out like reviews about movies and stuff. And they discussed a movie called Psycho Goreman that I believe was on Shudder, but I can't remember specifically. And it's just a science fiction movie, and it's definitely in the vein of like Evil Dead, Starship Troopers, but more the humor of Evil Dead, like just over the top gore and over the top stupidness.
I had the thought of like Toxic Avenger, like that.
Yeah, exactly. But better than Toxic Avenger, I'll give it that. But yeah, exactly that vein of goofy horror, gross out humor. And my youngest son, he fucking loved it. He thought it was hilarious. There's a scene where Psycho Goreman is this alien dude's name. He grabs these two guys. He goes, I will bring them upon the downfall of the world, but you will not see it. And then he rips both their heads off, and guts and brains and eyeballs are spraying everywhere. And Elliot, that's my youngest son, he thought it was just the fucking funniest thing he's ever seen.
Yeah, kids would love that.
Yeah. So, and I don't recall there being a lot of swearing. There was a great scene where Psycho Goreman, this other boy is saying goodbye to him. And he's like, all right, I'll see you later. And Psycho Goreman says to him, it would be better if you were dead. And the kid goes, okay, bye. And then just walks away. And my youngest son just thought that was fucking the funniest thing in the world. The last one I'll bring up is a movie that I believe you saw me put it on Instagram. When you look at a movie in Rotten Tomatoes and it's got 99% critics and like 20% audience, you know it's going to be art house garbage. It's going to be something, because the way this works is a lot of art houses will put out money and they'll kind of wine and dine the critics. They'll say, hey, you know what? Come watch this movie. We're showing it at this theater. It's out for review to the review people, the review crew. You can get swag and we'll feed you and wine, blah blah blah. They'll treat them very favorably, knowing that
invitation to Uneasy Girl.
Exactly, right? Exactly. That's exactly it. They'll be like, hey, you'll get all this free swag and we'll be super nice to you. And we'll say, you know what, fucking Bob Jones with the Reporter, what a nice goddamn guy, if you give this movie a favorable review. And of course that doesn't work with an audience. An audience pays to go see a movie, and they're going to give it an honest fucking review. So whenever I see a movie with 99% critics and like 20% audience, I know it's going to be not just shit, but art house shit. And there's a movie called Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. And the premise was simple, and simple premise can sometimes be good. This was not. This movie was stupid. And to anyone who's out there, I'm sure a lot of people be like, well, you're not a woman, so you're not going to get it. That's complete and utter bullshit. There is no movie in which you have to be a specific sex to understand the plight of that character.
Rob pretends he's a woman all the time.
So. Exactly. That's why I think I'm wearing my pink shirt that I stole from my wife, because I want to be in her clothes. But no, it comes down to, it's a fucking terrible movie. It's just bad. It's boring. My wife asked me, tell me about it. I'm like, girl gets pregnant. Girl realizes that she doesn't want to have the baby, doesn't want to have it in her town, so she's got to go outside of her town to get an abortion.
Okay, yeah.
Her and her friend go outside the town for an abortion. She has it. She goes back home.
I think
that's literally the
story
movie.
Before anyway. Yeah.
It was poor. Like, yeah, I'm not going to get into it, but avoid it. It sucks. I hated it. Over to you, Phil. What are your honorable mentions for the week?
I haven't seen any of those, and I won't.
But you should watch Psycho Goreman. That was fun.
That's not going to happen. But I'll take your word for it. Everyone should watch it because Rob says you should. Really, how good was it? Honestly,
so it was very enjoyable.
It was worth it to you.
Yeah, you have to like those kinds of movies. Like if you didn't like the Evil Dead, especially Evil Dead 2, it felt more like Evil Dead 2, then yeah, it's not a movie for you. But if you do like movies like Evil Dead 2, it's a lot of fun.
I'm envious of people who do like the Evil Dead stuff because there's a lot of content there. They keep bringing out stuff. It's great. I think, did they have a Netflix series?
Yeah, Ash vs. the Evil Dead, which is a lot of fun. Yeah.
Like I'm envious of that, but I just never got into it. Never, yeah. I will go into what I've been harping on you about, and that's you should
Dungeon Breasts.
Well, that too. Dungeon Breasts are really good. They're the best kind. No, WandaVision.
Yeah.
Another episode. I think there's 2 episodes left, and it's just good. It's just good. I don't want to spoil you, so I can't say anything about it.
Yeah, I've gotta start fucking watching it.
You're into the MCU. You gotta watch it eventually.
Yeah.
And you gotta watch it probably before. No, I was gonna say before Black Widow, but actually, I think Black Widow was supposed to come out before.
Yeah, I thought also Black Widow hasn't it been pushed to like next year?
I think it's in limbo right now. Disney just doesn't want to pull the trigger and put it out there. They should have put it out there when Wonder Woman came out. It would have been a great battle right there. But they didn't. That was a missed opportunity. But they're still hoping, and I think they're just going to wait till the end of this year because I think we're going to have movie theaters open and going.
Yeah, I think they want their Phase 4 to be like rapid fire, like every month a new Marvel movie. You know what I mean? Because I think Phase 4 has like fucking Blade in it, and the new Spider-Man movie, the
multi-dimensional stuff.
Okay.
Mostly, from what I hear. So Spider-Man's multi-dimensional, Doctor Strange is multi-dimensional. I don't know if Black Widow is, but I think I probably bet the Stinger is. And,
right.
And
well, fuck, Doctor Strange better be what's it called, the multiverse of madness. So that's going to be different universes.
And then supposedly, what was it? There was supposedly some like multiverse stuff happening with Thor, the Thor movie.
Oh, really?
And
what about it would have to be multiverse because it's the female Thor. Right, Natalie Portman is taking on the female Thor role, or is that? I don't even know if that's coming in Phase 4.
I think that's not in that one. I think she takes over by the end of the movie.
Okay.
I think that's what we're going with, but I'm not certain. Then we have like Captain America coming back and doing like almost like a what if, where it's like he's teaming up with Wolverine, supposedly.
Oh, really? That'd be cool.
Which would be amazing. And then,
what are your thoughts on, not to interrupt you, but what are your thoughts on Jesus Christ, Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Depends what they do with it. If it's just straight up like buddy cop.
That's what I'm kind of worried about. That's what it's going to be. Like buddy cops going up, like a new creature of the week type of thing. You know what I mean? Where they go up against the Russians this week and the Germans that week. Like, I got no interest in that.
But the good thing is, like, Wandavision has been great every episode. So I'm hoping. I'm not going to judge it until it comes up, but we'll see. The other thing that I want to mention is Apollo 11, and it's a documentary on Netflix.
Yeah, the name is familiar.
Every single bit of content in the movie is from recordings that happened, video recordings, audio recordings. No voiceovers that aren't part of those recordings.
Okay.
So it's completely done through that, and they just go through the whole time period just with all the recordings that they can gather.
It's pretty freaky.
Really well done. I'm halfway through it, but it's so well done. I can't wait to continue.
What's it about though?
The whole Apollo 11 situation.
Only with voice recordings. Okay.
Never before seen footage and audio recordings take you straight into the heart of NASA's most celebrated mission as astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins embark on an historic trip to the moon. So it's that first step on the moon.
Neat.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and like I said, never before seen footage. That excites me, and I saw some of it already. It's really good.
Cool.
I've lost my Zoom. There it is. Yeah, we can get into the feature presentation. The
feature presentation. All right. So for me,
music. What?
Dun, dun, dun. I've got my drum set. I gotta set up my the speakers. So then just fucking hit the snare drum or something. Be like, that's our
got his rock band intro set up. And
Cecil Hotel, episodes 3 and 4.
Walk me through it.
All right. I can't. I'll hope that my notes. Are explanatory as to what's happening, because the majority of the time I just start yelling at my phone and then have to go back and fix all the fuck ups where it didn't understand what I was saying because I was yelling it too fast. But episode 3 starts out with a bunch of people going to the hotel. And I wrote down, why are these stupid idiots going to the hotel to be in the same state that Lisa Lam was in there before she died to experience what she experienced before she died. This one dickhead says he's been there between 10 and 20 times. What fucking for?
They want to be that person that figures it out.
I guess I hate those people, and you'll learn as you're hearing me ramble off these notes. I truly dislike the people that, and I think I said this before in the episode before, who it becomes an element of notoriety for them. It becomes an element of their own narcissism where they forget that someone died. There's one guy who's on the complete opposite end of that spectrum. But the majority of in this show, but the majority of these people, they're doing it for their own narcissism. They're doing it for their own, kind of web presence. Yeah. And I really fucking hate that. Yeah, I really, really hate those types of people. And they had them in full view in this show. There was another guy. I called him Internet Explorer Detective Inspector Gadget. I can't remember why I called him that, but that's what I called him. He's the guy that watches a video about 600 times. And he says he wanted to go to that same elevator, and he realized that if he presses door hold, which is the button that she's clearly pressing in the video, that the door stays open for 2 minutes. And so I wrote, isn't he a fucking benefit to mankind? That he discovers that if you press door hold, the fucking door stays open for 2 minutes. Like, oh.
Well, that's kind of important.
And another guy brought up, this was the older, I called her Karen, which is terrible because my wife's name is Karen and she fucking hates the internet name of Karen, but I use that terminology all the time.
It's not about her.
Right, it's about all the other Karens in the world.
Not all the Karens, but a subspecies.
Subspecies called. That's worse than calling them whores. Now you're going to get insulted by women named Karen. You're calling us a subspecies?
Can you imagine a whore named, like, not named Karen, but she's a Karen? Like,
just hurry up! I've got people after you. But anyway,
Mom.
There's this woman, and I'm going to call her Karen. I can't remember what her name is. She's trying to make you feel, I guess, upset, or as a man, at least. Oh, hello.
Hi. See you later.
She's a guest. You have to say she's a guest star. Somebody got to pay her for her appearance.
Yeah, surprise guest. See. Oh, my dog's stuck in the room. Get out.
My dog never comes in here, man.
I'm not telling my wife to get out, but I should. Go on.
But this woman, like I said, we'll call her Karen. She is going on about women are commonly the victims of sexual assaults, kidnapping, and human trafficking. Like, no fucking shit. We already know that. We've been told that by everyone in the world. And this woman decides, hey, I'm going to come into this fucking documentary just to remind you of this. Again, this has nothing to do with she poses it in a way that has nothing to fucking do with the subject of this story. She just comes in, she goes, yep, the Cecil Hotel, it's a real down and out part of near Skid Row. And, women, they're often victims of sexual abuse. Like, okay, the fuck does that have to do with anything? Especially in the context of this fucking story. It has nothing to do with anything. Could
be, who knows? Maybe they were abducted by aliens.
But then it gets even worse. So I said, why is this angry white old Karen talking about this murderer from Austria in the 1980s? What the fuck does this have to do with this Elisa Lam story?
Last episode, right?
No, I thought she brought it up on the third one. She brings up
I'm saying I brought it up on our episode.
I get the Ramirez. I get why they brought up Richard Ramirez, because he stayed at the fucking Cecil Hotel. But why the fuck bring up this Austrian guy from the fucking 1980s? That has nothing to do with anything.
I think they said that he was either killing people in the U.S. at that time, or he was staying at the hotel at that time and killing people in the U.S.
But that was Ramirez. That was Richard Ramirez.
No, but they said him too. I believe.
Oh, really? Okay.
I could be wrong, but what I got from it, that's why the confusion happened last episode, was because, from my understanding, the Austrian guy, he killed a whole bunch of people there, and then he went to jail. He got out on parole or something, and then vamonos to the U.S.
That's right. Yeah, and killed everybody else, or started to do the same thing. Yeah.
Yes. And they're saying that maybe that's what happened to the girl, or something like that. Maybe that happened to Sorry, Elisa Lam.
See, now you'll be able to put up, while I'm bitching and going, what the fuck is this old white Karen bitching about? You'll be able to put up the subtext, Rob is a fucking idiot, and what they exactly have. They talk about him being there.
I don't need to put up anything, Rob.
So
okay. I could, like I said, I could be wrong. So it could be me that's an idiot. But
yeah, and I don't remember them saying anything about him being at the thing, but yeah, again, maybe I'm totally fucking wrong. And so episode 3 and 4, even fucking episode 1 and 2, these people want this story.
Really hate these people.
I really do. I really do. The vitriol, yeah, just fucking pours out of me. But they want it to be such a fantastical story. And they want it kills these people in the end when it's very simple. It's a very simple explanation of what happened to this poor girl. But they want it to be, they want it to have the fucking Illuminati and aliens and fucking ghosts and Russian hackers and all this bullshit that you can tell for them it's going to be soul crushing. And I'm glad it is when it's just a simple thing that happened to this girl. So on that same vein, why do these super sleuths instantly think that the police are somehow trying to cover something up? Whenever someone starts with something like that, I immediately distrust that person.
Okay,
because
can I just interject and say, how many times have we seen the police cover up something about like Black Lives Matter, about anything? I'm being your devil's advocate. I'm saying, and it's perfectly, doing that again. It's perfectly reasonable to assume that it could have been that.
It's definitely possible that the police could be trying to cover some up. So I'll give that not any credit, at least to myself, but there is always that possibility. Of course, there's going to be terrible people in the police department. The same way there's going to be, cops who really want to know what's going on in the police department.
Yeah.
For me, it's these people. They instantly say the cops are trying to cover something up, and the cops are working with the people that run the Cecil Hotel and the people that are taking care of that guy, that Mexican dude who went up on top and was like, they make it this massive fucking conspiracy. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. What do the cops have to gain by this girl dying? Now the Black Lives Matter
said, they grabbed her and did something to her and then covered it up. They're cops, so that no one will believe against them. But when you add like those other things, it's just you're stretching it more and more, and it's unbelievable.
And that's what it is. Like, I can understand it, as terrible as it is, but with the whole, one of the reasons the Black Lives Matter protest started is because of what happened to George Floyd, and that was one racist pig of a cop that got thankfully caught on camera, and this started a phenomenon that's finally coming to light about the racism that exists all over the world.
We're not going to get started with this because I'm going to get...
No, but my point is, there's nothing for if Elisa Lam had been like an informant, or Elisa Lam had been on the run, or Elisa Lam had an affair with a cop, then you know what I mean? As this stuff starts coming to light, I could understand a modicum of thinking that maybe the police are involved. But she was a college student from Vancouver that was on vacation. Like, there's no benefit to the cops covering it. So that's where, when the people start going, oh, the cops have something to do, I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, you're an idiot for even going there for something that clearly has nothing to fucking do with that.
I like, to be honest, I completely agree with you. Like, the way that they were mentioning it on the show, it was very, very much a stretch. And it was like, okay, you're doing yourself a discredit at this point.
And this next guy, I'd be okay with if someone said, you know what, like, there's this guy, all I know is his first name is Mike, but he does this video YouTube and podcast series called Bat Chapter, and he talks about all sorts of murders and stuff like that. He's a fabulously Irish guy. Whenever he speaks, he's got a thick Irish accent, which is great to listen to. But I'd seen his episode on Elisa Lam, and he's like, yeah, but like when they talked about the cops went up onto the roof and they saw that the water tanks, the door was closed, and he goes, and they thought it was an open and shut case, and he's like, Is it though? I don't know if it's really open and shut. Like he has that disbelief, the possibility that the cops might have done something, but he never comes out right and just fucking says, "Oh, the cops are absolutely, the problem." There's one guy. It's a guy that's he's speaking in front of a huge fucking screen, it's like a huge video screen, and he starts talking about fucking mind control. Like maybe somebody used mind control to murder Alyssa Lamb, the Illuminati, high up government conspiracy. Now, keep in mind, excuse me, that this guy's talking about a 21-year-old girl who drowned. We're not talking about like aliens trying to take over the fucking planet, but this guy is blowing this into X-Files-esque proportions. Yeah. It's like, dude, give me a fucking break, And then there was the TB, the tuberculosis test that they run. It's called the Lamb-Elisa test. Oh, clearly there's some government conspiracy there.
Okay, but when they're getting into these what they called them parallels, I believe, there were some interesting ones that came about, and that one of them was that, and the other was that the science of something was done at her university that she was studying or she was a part of. And just like there was like the postal code of the bookstore that listed on the website was her address.
No, same postal code where she's from.
Yeah,
but I mean, that's an interesting coincidence. I mean, here's another fucking interesting coincidence. Did you know that there's 3 members of ZZ Top? 2 of them have very long beards, and the one that doesn't have a beard, you know what his last name is?
Top.
Beard. Holy shit! It's a conspiracy. Like. It's a coincidence. And I can understand, that's kind of fucking crazy, but it's a fucking coincidence. You know what I mean? Like, and it's nothing more than that.
If it was one coincidence, then yeah, but if there was a lot of parallels that could be drawn. But again, we as in them, were looking for those parallels. Like you're going to
find them if you're looking for them. Yeah. And then I thought it was quite funny. At the end of number 3, they're talking about this death metal guy that has a whole bunch of songs about death metal and killing and stuff. Now, as a big fan of death metal, I hate to break it to you, a lot of those guys sing about death and murder and killing and shit. So when they started doing that, I'm like, this is hilariously funny, because anyone you don't even need to follow death metal music. You can follow any music over the years. And I'm gonna fucking say it, especially religious organizations, they love to point the finger at music. They love to say, hey, you know what? I don't have to be responsible for taking care of my own child. It's your fault. You're the one that put that idea in their head. So this kid was wearing, he put on Ozzy Osbourne's Blizzard of Oz album, went to the song Suicide Solution, shot himself. Now, maybe he just liked the song Suicide Solution. It's a great song. In the song, Ozzy says, wine is fine, but whiskey's quicker. What's it? Wine is fine, suicide is slow with liquor. And all this other shit that he says in that song. But people were like, well, clearly Ozzy's telling you to kill yourself. And like, there's a part of the song where Ozzy was fucking around with like just effects and shit in the recording booth.
Yeah.
And these people from the PMRC and from a religious group that tried to sue him said there's a part in that song where he says, get the gun, shoot, 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 shoot. He's like, I'm not fucking saying anything like that, but you're going to hear that if that's what you want to hear. AC/DC's been accused of it. 2 Live Crew, fucking Ozzy Osbourne. The latest example was, remember Marilyn Manson was the guy who was, he was a fucking demon for these Columbine kids. They always try to find someone that's... someone to blame. And when it's someone so exemplary, this fucking death metal guy, clearly that's the guy that fucking killed her. And then you find out by the end of the fucking story that people were attacking this poor bastard on Facebook and all sorts of social media, and he wasn't even fucking there the same year. He wasn't even in a goddamn country.
They got him banned from all the social media sites.
Yep. From fucking YouTube. Yep.
That's horrible.
Yep. And I was like... Proof. But even when the proof was, and I hate how the poor bastard said, even when it was proven that I had nothing to do with this, I was not even in the country. When I posted that video when I was there, that was from me being there a year beforehand. And he had his receipts, and the hotel had their marker when he was there. He said nobody reached out and said I apologize. No one said, hey, you know what? I'm sorry that I said those things about you. And again, to me, it goes to show you that these people are such fucking narcissists that all that matters is how important they look at that moment. You know, we're calling you, you're the one that killed Elisa Lam. Hey, everybody, band together, go after this guy. But when they found out that's not true, no, you know what? We don't need to go back and apologize for any mistakes we've made. And I can't fucking stand people like that. I think they're terrible people, and I think they're terrible examples for anybody else that's going to be part of social media.
Yeah, if you're going to act like that, at least be able to call yourself out when you're wrong.
And I think that makes you so much more of a respectable person. There's nothing more, for me, nothing more respectable than a person that could say, hey, you know what, I was wrong, and you were right, and I apologize. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've done that 100 times. Fuck, one of our first episodes was me saying, you know what, the Kingston Recycling, I think you're fucking terrible at your jobs, but I was having a bad day, and all you people on Reddit fucking called me out on it, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I was having a bit of a bad day, so I'm not going to say all the.
It got cut out.
But
he had a
like
big thing about it.
It's so true. Yeah, that's right. I cut all that part out because I thought nobody wanted to listen to it. But it's a great example. If I went back and I was like, yeah, you know what, I was having a bad day. That was kind of shitty. I apologize for anybody's feelings I might have hurt. You have to be able to do that, or you're a terrible example for other people.
Yeah, like I don't wish the whores to be mad at me. I mean, like, I don't think you're whores necessarily.
And if you whores are mad, then come to me and Rob, take out your anger towards Phil on
Rob
me.
Likes that. He's into
right.
Masochistic type.
I'm all about whores. Oh, you know what was it? Hold on, I heard the joke today. My wife and I are into S&M. She sleeps and I masturbate.
Welcome to being married.
That's right. Welcome to marriage.
All right. So crime.
So yeah, and so the whole thing, this all wraps up with they discovered that this girl was not on her medication. From the toxicology, they discovered that she was not taking her medication. She was prone to having fits of delusion and hysteria when she was not on her meds. And this girl, very likely, she got mass paranoia whenever she was not taking her meds. She likely went and drowned herself. Then they found out
probably cold turkeyed, and that's the worst thing you can do.
Exactly, especially on medication that's for something this severe.
Well, I'll just straight up say I don't care. But I was on anti-anxiety, antidepressant type stuff. And I felt so when you're going through that and you're going on meds, it's pretty much a testing thing. You have to see what works for you. If something doesn't work, you go to the next thing. I tested a bunch and it just didn't work for me. The last one that I tested, I went off cold turkey, which was a horrible idea. I was sick for days. But yeah, I could see if you're bipolar and you go off your meds cold turkey, and she's known to be what's the word, manic or what's
manic? Yeah, manic paranoia and she's manic paranoia and manic psychotic.
Yeah, and like you said, you see delusions, and that accounts for what you see in the video at the elevator.
Yep.
So go on. Like she has delusions, and then
they realized that the media, the cops had reported that, the hotel had reported to the police that when the guy went up to check the tank, the door was open. So this girl jumped in, likely tried to pull herself back up to the top. That's why she was getting rid of all of her clothes. She was trying to shed all the weight that she had on her to get up to the top.
Or wasn't able to do it. So delusional that she took off her clothes and wanted to go to death. Who knows?
Yep. And she drowned.
Yeah.
The cops had mistakenly said that the door was closed. So a lot of the internet fucking sleuths were all saying, oh, your door was closed. Clearly she was murdered. Clearly she was murdered. The door was not fucking closed. Yeah. And again, I'm glad that one or two of these internet sleuths, these web sleuths, they said, like, especially the one guy said, you know, when he goes back and looks at the footage of himself, he's very clearly conspiracy minded. He goes in, and because you go down that rabbit hole and you get trapped in that rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. And I can totally understand that. We've all fucking been there. There's one guy.
9/11.
What?
9/11.
Oh, there's one guy. He's a little Indian dude. He he asked somebody to go to her grave and record going to her grave and putting their hand on her gravestone so he could feel like he was there with her at that time. When someone is that obsessed is the only word that comes to mind with someone who they discovered on social media. They didn't even discover that person. They discovered them after their death and, you know, all the controversy surrounding their death. Someone like that is a very, very dangerous person. And I don't mean dangerous in that, I mean, they probably will attack you. I mean it in the sense of the word that I kind of feel sorry for the guy, because there's something clearly on that guy's moral compass that's kind of askew, that is broken. And I feel bad for the guy. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't be that obsessed with someone you've never met, with someone that will never be able to reciprocate your feelings. You should find kind of somebody who's alive, preferably, and and have a relationship with that person. So I felt, as much as that guy was a nutcase, I felt bad for him. And really, in all honesty, that's what it comes down to, is this girl didn't take her medication, had a manic episode, and killed herself. And all of this bullshit that surrounded it, and all these web sleuths were looking for nothing. They didn't help the police one iota. They, in fact, caused more fucking trouble than they were worth. And
it was web sleuth viral media.
Yeah, and not the first. It's certainly not the fucking last time it's happened. The one thing that did confuse me, and I will say that, you know, even from a calm and logical standpoint, which I am rarely at, why were they responding to her Tumblr posts after they discovered how she died?
I think it's kind of like when you talk to a loved one after they died. Like, it's cathartic. It's something for you to help you move on. Not excuse me, not necessarily move on, but like to just help you through.
It's kind of a closure type of thing, I guess. I guess I can understand that, but I can't. That's not true. I can empathize, but I can't understand it.
There's also people who believe that people are in heaven watching down on them.
And
so to them, that's they're talking to the grave, but it's also talking to them up there, you know.
I guess if you were going to pray or want to speak to someone who you know was dead, I don't know why you would take it to Tumblr or to social media. But again, I'm not the type of person that does that, but I'm sure there are other people out there that do that. So it was strange that there was a whole part dedicated to all these people leaving notes for on Tumblr. And I was like, okay, like I don't get it. I'm sure it's cathartic, but I don't get it.
What do they have for this obituaries online? And you leave comments saying your feelings. To me, like, my friend passed away over the holiday. I'm gonna try not to cry, but to me, I left a post and I wanted people to read it who were going through the same thing I was, and it's cathartic for me. It's cathartic for them to read how other people experience that person.
And I think that's great. It confused me when you don't know the person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, maybe I'm not that type of person. And if somebody is, that's fantastic. To me, I found it, and for my personality, I was like, I wouldn't do that. That's kind of confusing.
Yeah, they just developed a one-sided rapport, and they felt they need to do it. If it's not hurting anyone, go for it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point.
Show your respect. That's all good.
But the web sleuths that were trying to get information to the fucking cops, they were hurting people. They were, forgetting that this was about a poor girl who had died.
It's that idea of like getting 1,000 people calling in and one person giving anything credible. It's taking up too much time.
Yep. Much like this movie did. But all right. So on a scale,
but it was good.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it. It was watchable. I give it, like, for me personally, a solid maybe 7 out of 10. Did you look at the Rotten Tomatoes for it?
I don't know if they even did. I mention it last week? I can pull it up now. I have Rotten Tomatoes up here.
Yeah, so I was going to say I'm curious to see, because for me, a good 7 out of 10. I wouldn't watch it again, but it was interesting enough. These Netflix documentaries are quite interesting for me. One time to watch them. I wouldn't watch them again.
Holy crap! I'm surprised. the average tomato meter, which is the critics, is 50%, and the average audience score is 26.
Really, eh?
I'm surprised.
Yeah, that's surprising that it was
Because
so.
To me, I would give it a good 85.
Really, eh? No, for me, I'd be a good 70. But
so we'll move in to Space Sweepers.
Space Sweepers. Dun, 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 dun.
Now, I suggested this because it's a science fiction movie, people in space. Basically, they're a team of junk.
I call them kind of scavengers, junk scavengers.
Yeah, and they basically satellites and other debris that crashes into each other once they are non-operational, they have to go and get them. And then they get money for them. And that's
they take to a big recycling center. Yeah. And the recycling center pays money for them.
So take over your notes. Go for it.
All right. Well, the first thing I noticed from the music to the Earth looking like a barren landscape, I was like, did I accidentally turn on fucking Wall-E? Because I thought I was watching Wall-E from the opening of the movie. But so, and I wrote down that, from the music to running over, there's like a tank that treads over a small little plant that's just coming out of the ground and runs. I'm like, this is fucking Wall-E, man. This is exactly how Wall-E starts. And then Richard Armitage shows up. For some reason, Richard Armitage is 150 years old, and they never really describe why he's 150.
I think it's nanobots.
Okay, but I guess I was just like, are they going to say why he's 150 or how he lived it? They kind of just, they bring up he's the oldest man and he's been doing this and blah, blah, blah. But they never bring up how he survived to this age, unless I totally fucking missed it.
From what I understand, it's assumptions based off things that are shown throughout the movie, talking about the nanobots, then talking about are showing an x-ray of him at one point that has like mechanical stuff inside of him.
Oh, okay. I totally missed something. Maybe because I was just trying to think in my own head. Did they ever say anything about it?
I'm guessing the veiny stuff was like the nanobites.
But how come? What the fuck's her name? Kinto, or the little girl. How come she never did that? Who cares? Doesn't matter.
She's a different breed.
So one of my favorite things. So actually, if anybody's interested, I don't want to go into exact details about how this movie works, but it's like a group of scavengers that they just like Phil was saying, they find garbage and then they bring it to the UTS recycling center. UTS is Richard Armitage's company. He's Dr. Jang, I believe his name was. Dr. Kang or Kung or however they pronounced it. The captain, the Chinese girl, she's Captain Jang and he's Dr. Kang. So Dr. Kang, he's
there was a lot of Korean names that sound similar. I hope that doesn't sound racist at all, but to an English speaker, it just everything is that like everything's Kim and Lao and it's just it's hard to keep up.
Yeah, especially it's very kinetic action in this movie. A lot of moving pieces, a lot of ensemble acting. But the one thing that I love, and especially with Korean movies the most, I love when Korean movies take on characters with American stereotypes. I fucking love it. Like Captain Jang, she's got the fucking aviator glasses and she's cool as a cucumber when she's flying the ship. I love that. And it's not because they're doing it wrong. In fact, they're doing it exactly as an American movie would do it.
Playing it up well, yeah.
Yeah, and they do it just fucking spot on. Like all you can see is Maverick from fucking Top Gun when she's wearing those aviators. And I was like, oh, I'm loving this, man. This is fucking great.
The French guy with the guitar.
Yep.
Sings and just like
it was that was enjoyable. I also like that the name of their it's effectively a garbage scow that goes around collecting garbage, which is called the Victory, which I thought was quite funny, especially since.
Oh, sorry. This movie was made quite interesting in terms of all the vocabulary because they did all these different languages.
Yeah, and that was interesting to see. So there's a scene where there's a French guy speaking to a Korean guy. The Korean guy speaking in Korean, the French guy speaking in French, and then an African guy comes in and I say African because he's got a very thick African accent. He's speaking in English, but with a very thick African accent. And I'm like, holy fucking shit. Like thank God I had the subtitles on, because it was so like, it just kind of amazes me that those three people show up. They're all talking to each other in their own language and they're all understanding what's going on. It was,
you would have been cursing about the audio dub.
But I was having a ball with that. And another thing I really liked, this is one thing that's left out of a lot of movies that have robots. I've seen a lot of I'm not a huge video game guy, but a couple of video games I have played, they commonly do this. I love when the robot reminds the humans of their organic limitations, because they're on the Victory, and the robot, his name is Bubs. He says to them, he goes, if we don't get any food for a while, you guys will just die of starvation, and then the ship will belong to me. And I was like, yeah, that's the kind of robot that you want on your crew, the guy that's always reminding you, remember, I don't need air like you do. I don't need food like you do. You can kick the bucket and I'll still be walking around.
It's very much reminded me of, okay, I'm trying to remember the right terminology here. Maybe you can set me straight. In Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, and exactly what I was thinking of.
HK-47?
I believe you're right. HK-47.
It could be a number, but it's an HK droid, and he's always cracking jokes about meat bags and other type things like that. So
that's
that kind of thing.
That's Knights of the Old Republic. I believe the first one. That's not even Knights of the Old Republic 2. That's the same thing that I was thinking of too, because he had like kind of the same boxy head like Bubs had. So yeah. As a movie, it's a pretty predictable sci-fi movie, and typically generic sci-fi movie. Like there's the tiger develops a bond with this little girl, with the girl that they discover. They all kind of develop their own unique bond with her, especially Tejo, who had a daughter and lost her, and then sees his daughter and her, and blah 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 blah.
That was the best story, even though it was a little.
It was, and the whole movie was very generic. Like there was nothing. Not interesting is the wrong word, but there was nothing like stand out about it. I was
going to go into this when we do our ratings, but South Korea has this problem where they have amazing CG, they have amazing work ethic, they have amazing actors, but they just can't write a great A+ script. It's just I haven't seen one yet. I'd love to see them get there.
I think the only person I believe he's Korean is Bong Joon-ho. He directed Parasite. He directed The Host.
Okay, you got it.
He's spectacularly good.
If you haven't seen Parasite, go watch that.
Yeah, Parasite is monumentally good. Same with, watch his other stuff. The Host. He made an amazing science fiction movie called The Host.
Is that a scary one? Because I don't do scary.
It's not scary. It's not scary, but it's got a monster, put it that way. But he also made an incredible movie with Chris Evans called Snowpiercer. That is a spectacularly good movie. Haven't watched the Netflix series. I believe there's a Netflix series. Don't, eh? Yeah, I was figuring that's not that good. But the Snowpiercer movie is spectacular. And I know there's another one that I'm fucking forgetting. But Bong Joon-ho is amazing. He's an awesome fucking director to watch. But coming back to this movie, you're exactly fucking hit the nail on the head when the tone of this movie goes all over the place. And it's funny it's fine when a movie might put in like a joke, like a very serious movie puts in a joke and you're like, type of thing. But this one, all of them have guns on each other, and the little girl goes, I need to poop, and then starts walking to the bathroom and then farts. And I'm like, what the fuck? What?
It's
like who decided that was a good idea?
Like, it's a funny movie here and there. Like, it's got its comedy, but this was just like a slapstick. Like, why even?
Yeah, why is, especially in the middle of a scene where they're all about to shoot each other. Like, if it was a standoff and then like a little girl standing in the middle and no one's gonna fire because she's there, that's a different story. But that she kind of farts and walks away, I was like, this is fucking bizarre.
Take out that fart and it'd be fine.
Exactly, right?
Like,
and take out the fact that she goes, I need to go poop. But because it then when
that was a little thing referenced when they.
Yeah, you're right, because then Captain Jang brings up what kind of robot needs to poop. You know what I mean? But yeah, that fart just yeah, didn't make any sense at all.
The best. Speaking of comedy, the best line in the movie was after they're trying to get a cop to leave the ship, and as they finally get him off the ship, he's threatening them, and what's his name,
Bubs. Yeah.
Okay, now fuck off. Just like it was like the best. Just the comedic timing on it was the best line.
Well, even Bubs at the end of it decides he wants to be a girl, and so he gets like this Korean girl skin, which I thought, but he still keeps his boy moves. Oh, absolutely not. But I was just like
liked to be a girl. So
hey, man, I love whores. I love what's Bubs? He'd be a Korean robot whore. But my biggest complaint about the movie,
Rob. I'm just bringing up stuff so that you understand that he gets it.
My biggest complaint of the movie, it's way too goddamn long. It's like just over 2 hours long. I'm like, holy shit, dude, get to the fucking point. This is such a generic movie that it doesn't need to have all this additional like melodramatic garbage. Like just be an action movie and do that. You don't need all this other shit in there. Also,
the stuff with the main character's kid, got me because I'm a father. So that was good, but there was even with that there was a lot of like extra stuff they put in. Like it's like, was this the director's cut? Like,
yeah, it felt like Netflix. It didn't need to be there at all. Well, also, so maybe you can explain this because it didn't make sense to me even from the start. He becomes kind of a gambler and a bad father, and his daughter says to him, "Dad, look at this thing I do for you." He goes, "Here's $1. Go and buy something for yourself. Like, leave me alone. I'm trying to gamble." And then there's a huge explosion, and she's blown out into space. Yeah. His biological daughter, right? And then he goes to the place, and they said, "We'll still be able to find her out there because of her DNA sequence. Everybody has their DNA sequence tracked, and we can track her usually up to 4 years before she leaves the solar system, and then we can never find her again." But she is dead.
Right? I took it as he wanted to put the body to rest type thing. Like, didn't want it just floating out there and never to be scavenged in a way.
Because the way they explained it, and maybe it's just the way I heard it, was they kind of give him the impression that she might still be alive. And I was like, how the fuck would she still be alive if she got blown out into space?
The only other option, because it is a science fiction movie, is if she was cloned. But I don't see that being a thing. I think it was just, I could be completely wrong on this. This is what I picked up from it, was that he just wants to put her to rest. She's after hushing her and putting her aside and saying, go do something. He's kind of the cause of her death in a way.
Yeah.
And he blames himself as well as not paying attention to her in her final days. Like, he wants to put her to rest properly, but doesn't even get that.
Speaking on some parts that could be taken out, there was like the sub-story that she was deaf as well, and I'm like, what does this have to do with it? What does it matter if she's fucking deaf? Like, it didn't feel like it had anything to add to the story outside of just being mentioned.
It's also the sub-stories of each crew member. When you didn't really have to do that, you could have just done the quick mention and then that's it. Like, you get it. They had their own. They all had their own backstories of how they become part of this crew. And they were all bad people, and the whole point is they become good. I get it.
Well, then Bub's explaining it to the little girl while he's doing her makeup, and I'm like, why the fuck would he be talking to a little girl, explaining this to her while he's doing her fucking makeup? Like, that's just stupid.
I think that was more of him showing how, like, you know, how the average person would not discuss these things with a little girl. Like,
maybe
he's not crass, but he's just like straight up
blunt.
Yeah, and he's also doing her makeup at the same time, which kind of leads into the final moments.
Not to mention he does it horribly. You know what I mean? She ends up looking like a prostitute.
Well, I think if I'm not mistaken, in the final moments where he becomes a girl, he's got the same makeup.
Yeah, and that's what I think that gag was about, right? That by the end of it, that's what I meant. He looks kind of like he makes her look like a prostitute because it's, you know, no shame on the actress that they picked for Bubs, but that's kind of what she looks like. She's dressed like a tramp and she wants a sexy voice, you know what I mean? So But stuff like that, when it came around again, I'm like, that was funny. At least the joke fucking paid off. But like the fart joke and the death thing, I don't get where that came around again to have any meaning.
And the
only other thing
went way over.
Oh my God.
It's just like, I don't need to know all this information. You can cut a half an hour out of this movie, and it would actually make it better.
The space battle at the end of the movie is great. CG looks great. All the actual battles and flying around was great. It reminded me so much of fucking Return of the Jedi, especially when they fly into, so there's a big UTS ball, which of course is like the Death Star, and they fly into one specific port of it. So it's almost like when Lando Calrissian is flying the Millennium Falcon into the port at the end of Return of the Jedi. And then they go into this big fucking huge room where they're looking around like, yeah, that's the chamber where they go in and they see the huge glass thing that they've got to blow up in Return of the Jedi. So I was like, anything I watch, I'll always compare to Star Wars.
There was a bunch of nods to different things that I like. You not necessarily notice some of them, but you're just like, where have I seen that before?
Yeah, well, that's like the Wall-E thing, the Star Wars. Yeah, there was a lot of it that was like that. For me, I wouldn't watch it again. It was a good generic sci-fi movie. For me, I wouldn't give it high ratings. I'd probably maybe if we're doing out of 100, maybe 65 out of 100 for me.
Oh, I probably would give it. I think that's fair, actually. I think that's a good rating. Maybe even 60. That's difficult because, A for effort.
Yeah.
But
an F for
story. Yeah,
for timing.
Just
for editing.
So yeah, I'm kind of torn on a rating. I'll go with 65. Sure. Average tomato meter, the critic score 50%, and 26%. Oh wait, I'm reading the wrong thing. I'm sorry.
Here, I was gonna say that's pretty fucking similar to the last one we just did.
Yeah, freaking Netflix people. No, critics gave it a 67, which actually makes sense this time.
Yeah.
And then the audience score is 81%.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
I'm telling you the truth.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I believe what you're saying. I'm just like, no, that's not me. That's not what I'd be saying from the audience. I've become very as I've watched more and more movies over time, I've definitely become, I will not deliver accolades as much as I used to. I've got my very few, absolute 10 out of 10 genius movies.
Shawshank Redemption.
The Shawshank, I would not give that a 10, but I give it a 9. It's definitely a 9 out of 10.
What's a 10?
No, that's Shawshank is a 9 out of 10.
Is a 10? For
me, what is a 10? I'm sorry. A 10, The Shining is an absolute 10 of a movie. Parasite is an absolute 10 of a movie.
I would give it a 9.
Now, for me, Parasite's a 10. 2001, absolute fucking 10.
The only problem with me giving that a 10 is that it gets boring at times.
Yeah, see, for me, I never got bored of it. And I remember I probably brought this up before. But 2001 was one of the first movies I watched when I was younger, because my parents, as they were divorcing, they were too busy fighting with each other to know what the fuck I was doing. So I was one of these kids that was constantly watching movies at 2:00 in the morning. And City TV, which is now City News, and everybody knows it as City TV now, used to have this thing called Late Great Movies, that they would play fucking movies from midnight to 5 in the morning. And 2001 was one.
A Speaker's Corner kid too,
right? Did you ever go to Speaker's Corner? I'd never been there.
Never. It was in Toronto. I couldn't.
No, see, we were close to it, and we walked by it all the time. But
I've
never
been to the Ottawa one.
Oh, there was an Ottawa one.
There was a Canadian version of Speaker's Corner for a little while, but it didn't catch on.
Oh, but sorry.
Wait a minute. Speaker's Corner is Canadian. Sorry, there's a Toronto version and an Ottawa version.
All right, that's what I'm assuming you meant was an Ottawa version of it, because Toronto is not in Canada. So yeah, that's where I first saw 2001. It was 2:00 in the morning. I remember watching it, and I was like, you know what? I don't get this movie, but I understand that this movie's fucking important. I understand that there was something huge about this. And I've been to see that movie at the TIFF, the Bell Lightbox, where they had 2 of the actors there that we all got to ask some questions shit afterwards. I've seen that movie hundreds of times, and I just love it. To me, it's an absolute 10. I'm trying to think of a more recent movie that I would consider a 10.
It's hard nowadays. It's so hard.
Yeah. If
Can I just say that Tenet was awful?
You know what? It was definitely not my favorite Nolan movie. My Nolan movie absolutely still remains Inception.
The audio was absolute garbage. It was so bad that they had to re-release the film or the digital film to the theaters because it was so like garbled up.
Yeah.
I went the first week and it was god awful, and then I complained after the fact. I went on Facebook Messenger on to our landmark cinemas, and I said, "What was the deal with the audio being so bad? I'm sorry, I should have complained that night." And it goes, "Oh yeah, that's been dealt with. They sent a new copy over." And I'm like,
oh fuck. Let me go do it again for free then, goddammit.
Should have offered. Yeah, should have offered. Yeah. I didn't ask, but whatever.
No, I enjoyed Tenet, but
the
definitely not the best Nolan movie. Yeah, the best Nolan movie, absolutely hands down, is Inception. But I wouldn't call Inception a 10. But yeah, I think the only recent 10 that I was like, this fucking absolutely blew me away was Parasite. I didn't see Parasite coming from a mile away with how good it was, and it was spectacularly good.
Ghostbusters.
Oh God!
You know
what? And I will say that I went and I didn't go to it. I watched it on whatever fucking service came out on with an open mind, because I think Melissa McCarthy's really funny.
No,
I think
I'm talking about the original.
Oh shit! I thought you were. Oh,
sorry,
of course.
You thought recent. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the original Ghostbusters, absolute fucking 10 out of 10. Ghostbusters 2, unfortunately, is about a 3 out of 10.
It's. I still watch it with love, but Ghostbusters women version, it's not the women that does. They were the good part of it. The problem was the storytelling.
The problem was they let these women ad lib and just like they would let the camera roll and like, hey, make some jokes. And people need to understand
that's all it was.
But that's pretty much all it fucking was.
That's the thing.
Okay. I thought you said that's not all it was.
No, that's all it was. And then just filled in some graphics and made it somehow make sense.
The parts with fucking Chris Hemsworth were cringingly fucking bad, man.
No, I thought that was good. I love it.
But it went on for too fucking long.
Okay, the second half of his performance just went nowhere. There was nothing to it. Who cares?
And yeah, for me,
the stuff in the Ghostbusters building, whatever the takeout place, the Chinese takeout place, the stuff where he's being interviewed and the stuff where he's doing his job, that was amazing comedy.
But I liked and the one part that I can remember is, and again, this is how quick the joke should be. Is there's a part where he says he gets someone's eye. He's always wearing glasses, and he just reaches through his glasses and scratches his eye. Like there's no fucking lens in it. I'm like, that's a good joke, you know. And where the phone is ringing off the hook, and they're like, are you going to answer that? And he's like, oh, somebody should answer that. And he just kind of goes over and keeps doing what he's doing and never answers the phone. I'm like, that's a good joke. But it was the ones where they're interviewing him and like they're looking at the logo and it just goes on and on.
It did go on a bit.
I'm like,
I do think the comedy in that movie was great. It was really well done. The problem was there was no story. There was no problem. It was just like this to that to this to that. This is what we have to hit, and there's no weaving them nicely through those things.
Well, also, it's like, you know, we can survive on our own. We don't need the movie that came out before us, even though there's cameos by all four actors. Yeah. Also, we have Slimer in it. Also, we have Zool at the end of it. It's like, yeah, you guys. Also, we have the fucking Stay Puft Marshmallow. Yeah, you guys sure didn't need that movie that came before it. But on the whole Ghostbusters thing, what are your thoughts on Afterlife? Not on Afterlife as in real, but on Ghostbusters Afterlife.
I am hoping.
Yeah.
Hoping that it's going to be a really good movie. I don't see it being as bad as
the hell no
movie.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
I'm worried because I know there's a new Slimer. It's not Slimer. It's like Grubbins or Grubby or like I don't know, some grub, and it's interesting. Like it's taking the role of Slimer. But I'm open mind. I'm hoping it's just like I go into a new Jurassic Park movie, Dominion. I'm hoping They're bringing back all the cast. I'm hoping, but we'll see. Opening night.
See, for me, I'm all about the director and the producer and stuff. And Jason Reitman, I think he's a fine director. He's Ivan Reitman's son. His first movie, Juno, was a spectacularly fun movie. I really, really liked it. Even though I fucking hate Michael Cera, I really enjoyed Juno. So I think he's going to be, and he's got the original Ivan Reitman with him, who was the guy responsible for the first Ghostbusters. So I'm cautiously optimistic, about that movie. There's not a lot that I'm looking forward to this year, and now it's been pushed out, I believe, to 2022.
I have no idea now. It's again in that. No. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Dominion is the one that's being released online.
Is it being?
It's all the Universals, right?
Yeah. Well, no, it's all the Warner Brothers that's being released online with HBO Max. That's why, like Dune, Snyder Cut.
I think Universal as well.
Is it? Okay, I didn't realize, but maybe I'm wrong. What?
People that are watching, feel free to comment and tell me if I'm wrong, because I was
gonna say I usually wait for the podcasts I listen to say whether it's gonna be fucking released or not. Now people are gonna be listening to ours. Below. These fucking idiots.
Maybe. Well, we had a good amount of views on the YouTube, but I think we crushed the previous episodes.
Well, we also had one person that brought up that she's always listened to you, and she liked finally putting a face to your voice or something. That was pretty good.
No, what she mentioned was she has noticed there was a post or something, and noticed my username in the Reddit, the Kingston Reddit, where I'm active there, and she was saying it's nice to put a voice to a face to a name, a stuttering face to an anyway, and yeah, of course my voice is nice. That's why my wife got with me in the first place, amongst other things.
Because he doesn't like horrors. He sends horrors, says, "Get lost, Dido or Dildo or Naomi, whatever the fuck." Sophia, that was her name.
That was not my fault. That was a horrible movie. That was your fault.
All right, but you're the one that decides. So what's going to be our next film?
Well, I said it last week. Can you remember?
No, honestly, all I remember is Dungeon Horrors. That's the one thing my brain constantly keeps on going back to.
You have a lot of homework. You have WandaVision, which now I'm kind of jealous because you get to binge WandaVision.
But when is WandaVision over? Because that's what I'd rather. Does it end on cliffhangers?
I think it's 2 more weeks. So this week coming and the week after that, and it does end on cliffhangers.
All right, then yeah, definitely that's something I want to binge.
Okay, we'll wait till that week, and then you can tell me all about it. Then you also have Dungeon Horrors.
Dungeon Horrors.
Available on.
For a guy that doesn't like horrors, you say it a lot.
I have respect for the word.
What is it? How to find a dungeon horror? Hold on, I remember the name. How to email.
No horror in it.
No. How to catch a girl in a dungeon.
How to pick up girls in a dungeon, I think.
See, all right, it was close enough.
I had it written down here for you, but now I got rid of it.
How to find horrors in
the
dungeons.
actual thing for this week is Tribes of Europa.
That's what it is. All right, I'll never remember that.
You'll be glad to hear that it's either 4 or 6 episodes. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, you had brought that up.
You were worried that it was 8 or 10.
Better have nudity.
It looks good, but hopefully it's not bad.
Is it?
I think that's how I feel about everything we're gonna watch.
Is it like a Korean again, or where's it from? Is it from America? No idea. All right. Or you won't say, so I can turn it on and be like, what the fuck is this shit?
Let's pretend I know what I'm talking about. I won't say, Rob. It's a surprise.
I don't want to spoil it, but I am going to watch Dungeon Horrors. Let me write that down too. Dungeon Horrors. You know what's going to come down? One of my boys is going to come down and look at my notepad and go, "Dad, why are you writing down Dungeon Horrors?"
What's a horror, Daddy?
We got, oh my God. So this stupid fucking never, rarely, sometimes, always. This girl says she's going to go get an abortion. So I'm explaining to my wife, this girl decides she's getting an abortion.
Didn't know what an abortion was?
No, my youngest son goes, "What's an abortion?" I'm like, that's where you decide to go for a doctor's appointment.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay,
That's
great.
gonna come up badly later on.
It's one of the, it's one of those moments where your kid asks someone, your wife, and you just freeze. You're like, how do we answer this?
You're going to be in an appointment with the doctor standing there, and you're like, I'm glad I'm having an abortion today.
I'm having an abortion. My dad had made my mom get an abortion. Fuck. But he was. So we're hoping he doesn't do shit like that. But he did love Psycho Goreman, and there's one part of Psycho Goreman where the girl says Psycho Goreman. She's like, hey, just stay in this. Just stay in this fucking building or this little like shop. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna go to school and then I'll come back for you. He's like, what will I do the entire time I'm here? I will get bored. I want to destroy. She goes, just read this magazine. And he opens the magazine and there's a guy modeling these jeans with no shirt on. She goes, just read the articles and the stories and look at the hunky boys. He goes, I do not care for hunky boys. And then he looks closer and he goes, or do I? Like that. So now Elliot's walking around going, I do not care for hunky boys, or do I?
Perfect.
So that's just what we need them to go
Get
back
them
to
while
school
they're
and fucking
young.
say.
You know?
Oh,
we got
fuck.
Pink Shirt Day. Pride's coming up in June. We're good.
And he'll have a megaphone in the next Pride parade we go to. Give me all the hunky boys.
Good. Good for him.
Right? That's all we need. Bring him home. I want all the horrors that I can fit into the house. And you knew it was coming back to there somehow.
I thought I was going to get in trouble for this one. It's you.
I figure I just always get in trouble. At the end of all of them, I always figure that any hate mail that we're going to get is all going to be directed towards me.
Hate mail. We're just going to get comments in this particular Kingston Reddit board. By the way, I've already ended the show. It's just... this is just extra. I'm going to put extra at the end. It's going to be like the stinger of the show.
And subscribe to our Patreon and get all this other shit of us talking about horrors.
We'll do Patreon one day.
One day. Yeah,
when we have more
now.
of an audience.
More than one.
But when we can get more than $1 a month.
I wouldn't give me $1 for this.
Wow. Hey.
Maybe I give you $1. I sure wouldn't hell would give me $1 for
That's
this.
better.
But all right, that brings us to the end of Netflix Weekly. That oddly enough,
say this, and you're gonna
right.
roll your eyes. Please smash that like button. Subscribe. Like, comment, share.
What's the other one? To retweet. What do you do on Reddit?
You post a comment.
Upvote. No, you upvote in Reddit.
That's right. No one
See, fucking I know. I'm down with the social media lingo. I never use Facebook, so I don't know.
The downvotes.
Yeah, right.
Stop posting recycling grams.
Smash that like button. Like is what? Like is Facebook? No, no. Like which one is?
Grandpa.
And then subscribe. I don't remember any of this shit. I fucking just gone out of one ear as soon as it comes up.
If you enjoy the show, if you're just watching anyway, and it's not going to hurt your feelings to do so, do all that stuff. Like do any of that. Do one of those things.
And then tell us what you do or don't like about the show. And we'll be sure to follow that advice the next time that we record.
Feel free to comment about my beautiful voice.
And my beautiful hair.
Yeah, and his love for masochistic torture.
Horrors.
In this dungeon.
My whore love. And if any whores are listening to the show, just send me a DM on
Next week
Reddit.
We're gonna be wearing whore t-shirts.
Whore t-shirts. I'm here for the whores. I'm gonna get a shirt that says I'm here for the whores.
If you have them made, I will wear it.
That's just what your wife needs to see. Your wife needs to see me come to your house and hand you a shirt that says I'm here for the whores.
She'll just be like, yeah, I know who I married.
Right? I knew that I shot the bar low. That's what my wife always says to me. She goes, I shot that bar and it was as low as I could get it. But all right, so for Netflix Weekly, I have been Rob.
I have been robbed of my sanity. Bill.
Good. All right, goodbye, everybody. Da, 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 da,
I already did the music. We're doing the music twice.
da, da, da,
3 times.
da, da, da.